I'm so happy to have you with me this morning. Maybe you can thank yourself because you got here for you. Now we'll take a moment to think about our foundation, how we're seated. Does it allow us to lift the heart? Where's the head? Is it ahead of the body, dragging your upper chest back and your collarbones forward, or is the head floating above the lungs, above the heart? That's where we want it to be. So go ahead, and if you feel like it, bring it forward and back a couple times until you can find a place where you feel a little bit of lightness and ease. And then just settling in and turning your attention to the breath. Breathing in and filling the torso. Breathing out and letting go. Perhaps imagining with each breath in, you're fueling your own inner light. And with each breath out, you're doing two things. You're sending your light outward, but you're also letting go of the soot, the ash, whatever it is that no longer serves you, that you've burned up and are ready to let go of. And so again, thinking of just getting bright and beautiful, fueling your own inner fire. Exhaling, imagine sending that light out to all around you. At the very bottom of the breath, imagine just letting go. And as you're ready, taking a couple of breaths where you're consciously feeling the effects of your breath again. Noticing where it creates movement. Noticing the physical experience of your breath. Good, and then when you're ready, bringing your hands anywhere to the front body that feels good to you. We'll take just a moment to nod the head down towards the heart, to that inner light. That part of us that is connected to the whole. We'll let the hands come down and the eyes gently open. Excellent. Okay, so we are going to work today on strength again, but also balance, and how having strength and balance helps bring us a sense of poise. In yoga, we also often call it equipoise or equanimity. And so we'll physically do some balance work as well. But we're going to start in just kind of releasing things, because when everything's all tense and bound up, it's hard to find strength. So let's do this to start, sitting up nice and tall. Again, not letting the heart collapse back and the head drop forward, but keeping the head right over the lungs. Let's just gently look up and down. So you can match your movement to your breath. Which then makes this a pretty slow movement. And we're just exploring. What are the sensations we experience as we move through this whole range of motion? Getting some blood flow into the upper neck, the back of the neck, the front of the neck. Also creating some strength. Perhaps a little length as we warm this up. Maybe there's a little more range of motion to be found, and don't worry if that's not the case for you. And then we'll look straight ahead, again, perching the head right above the heart. And then we'll just gently do the same thing, but we'll just turn the head in one direction and then the other. And you might start with a lesser range of motion, just beginning to warm up. And gradually, perhaps, if it feels right, exploring a little deepening of the movement. And I'm going to ask you to really pay attention. Some of us, when we start to turn the head, get in the habit of the head coming forward and around. It's like when you're driving, instead of just turning the head, most of us use our upper back and upper body too. And I'm going to ask you to focus just the head's movements right now. So much like with our eye muscles, we tend to use our neck instead of our eye muscles. We tend to use the upper body and not just the neck. And so right now we're just focusing on the neck. Good, and then we'll come back to center and take just a moment, feel what that sensation, that movement has created in terms of sensation. And then we'll interlace our fingers and just set them not on the very top, but just at the back of the head, but not all the way back here, right? So where the fontanelle was when you were a baby, and then back just an inch or two. There we go. And now we're going to just draw a small circle with the head. And what the hands on the head does for us is it provides just a little bit of resistance. Now, if your shoulders don't like that, it's okay. You could do this work without the hands on the head. So whatever's working for you. Small, slow circle. And then we'll look down to the floor and turn the circle the opposite direction. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm hearing a lot of noises in my neck. Good, and then release. Come back to neutral. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to do two small strengthening things now. We'll again interlace our fingers and just place them underneath the chin. Again, head is perched over the heart. And what I'm going to ask you to do is gently press down into the fingertips and release. Press into the fingertips and release. And you might notice muscles engaging when you do that. So inhale to release, exhale with a little force into the fingertips, not a ton. Inhale, release. Now when you do it, pay attention to the muscles at the base of the skull. So when we are activating these front muscles, there's a little bit of release right at the base of the skull. And release. Good. Maybe give the shoulders a little bit of a circle. Maybe extend the elbows out and increase the range of motion. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to ask you to grab your strap. If you don't have a strap at home, you can use a blanket or a towel. And what we're doing is we're taking the strap just to the base, just below the base of the skull. So it will look like this. That was a great big loop. There we go. And I'm going to take it to the base of the skull and bring my hands forward and then relax the shoulders down. So will you do that with me? Base. I'm just below the base of the neck, elbows forward, shoulders relaxed. And now we're going to release the base of the skull up and back into this strap. And inhale forward, exhale and resist. And then forward. So you might be feeling the same sorts of activation of the front of the neck muscles. And the release of the occiput, that's the space where the strap is. One more time. And release. And then just be a little bit of a bobblehead. So maybe explore just a little bit of side to side. A little bit of forward and back, just really small movements, maybe a little. Okay, and then let's sit in our neutral for a moment and just feel the places where we've created a little bit of blood flow. So what happens is we shut down these muscles don't work, and then these muscles have to overwork. And then when we bring the head forward, it increases the load on that part of our neck structure. So we want to support the release of the neck with our posture. And then when you do that, you can feel the heart lifting and spreading. And you might just take your fingertips to the floor and play with rolling forward with the arms and then turning the biceps back and away and opening the chest. So just a couple of times, getting a little bit of movement, and you might feel some stretching back here. And then let's hold this place, and you might grab your blanket or bring your hands to the floor and really turn your inner edges of your shoulders away from one another and draw the shoulder blades on the back. And now draw the belly in and lift the heart up, maybe even glance up just a little bit. Feel the muscles of the upper back really working. So we're creating strengthening action for those muscles between the shoulder blades. Now breathe. And release. Good, coming back to your neutral. Okay, now I'm feeling a lot of blood flow in the whole upper torso, neck, head structure. Hopefully you do too. Okay, excellent. So now we're going to come into a puppy pose, and then we'll be going into a downward facing dog. So I say that so you can decide where you want to work. You can work on the floor. Here's what it would look like on the floor. Here's our puppy. And you'll see me draw my belly in and let the heart melt down any amount that it will. I could also do this standing, however, if being on my knees wasn't helpful. So I could work here. And then when we go to downward facing dog, I could also work with my chair versus on the floor. Okay, so now you know you have choices. You can do this on the floor. You could do it standing. Wait, I see somebody going, what? So I'm going to show it one more time. So here's the puppy. I slide my hip crease back, relax the shoulders down. And now what I'm doing is melting this part of my chest down towards the chair. And you could come in and out a couple of times. And then when we go to downward facing dog, I'm going to roll my thighs and press back and just get long, 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 draw the belly in. Okay, so that's what it would look like on a chair. You could also do this on the floor. Puppy, extending the arms away. Whether you're using the chair or you're on the floor, let's think about pressing through the thumb, the forefinger, and the pinky. And then turning your biceps away from your ears and drawing your belly in. Now just relax the heart down towards either the floor or the chair. So we're working on that upper back area again. Can you feel it? You might also be noticing sensation in your shoulders, the underside of your armpits, and the sides of your ribs. Couple more breaths. Can you breathe and fill out that space between your shoulder blades? Excellent. Okay, now we're going to come into our downward facing dog. So you could do that with the chair like I showed just a moment ago, or on the floor where you'll tuck your toes under, lift the knees up off the floor, and then slide the hip crease back away from the hands. And so here again, I'm going to draw my belly in. I'm going to slide my hips back and make the spine nice and long. Firm the arms, biceps turning away from the ears. And then you can come up onto your tippy toes if you're on the floor here. And let one heel at a time reach on down to the floor. And begin to stretch open the calves. Now, if you're working in down dog with your chair, you might play with bending your knees and then unbending them any amount that feels appropriate today. And you can explore that range of motion. You might start feeling a stretch to the backs of the thighs. But what we don't want to feel is a pulling on the buttocks to take us down. Okay, come on out whenever you're ready. Good. All right, so some of us love our down dog. It's such a, lengthening pose, but there's also a lot going on in it. So it's not everybody's favorite. And particularly as you're working to open the shoulder girdle, you might be feeling that your weight is forward like this. And if it's forward, I promise you, you're creating stress right here. So give yourself time to open here. Bend your knees more so that you can take your weight back as much as you can. And come in and out of it. You don't have to stay in it as long as everybody else is, right? Let's do one more down dog at your pace. Remember to listen and decide, boy, this is a lot of strain on my upper neck today. So I'm going to bend my knees and take my weight back on my feet as much as I can. And maybe I just won't hold it quite as long. That's okay. Beautiful. So bend your knees a little more, take your weight back a little more. That's it. And then work to straighten and bend the legs as much as it's right. And come on out. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm watching people who've chosen to keep their video on, and that reminds me to give you certain cues. Okay, beautiful. So let's do this. Let's come on up to our feet and we'll meet together in Tadasana. So that's our mountain pose. Remember the mountain pose here? So some people like toes together, heels apart. That feels stable for some of us. This feels more stable for some of us, where the heels are in line with these hip points right here. So you see which feels better for you. And then let's think about our posture again. So we worked on this upper body. If your low body is strong and stable, the outer thighs are rolling in, pressing back. The quadriceps are lifting to the bone. Imagine you're trying to lift your kneecaps up. Feel how strong your legs are. Your weight is equal between the inner and outer edges of your feet and forward and back. So now from this firm foundation, draw the belly in and lift the heart, spreading the collarbones. Now feel the shoulder blades on the back again. That feels so good, doesn't it? And let's see if you can find some natural and full breath here. Perhaps scanning the body. Where is there still tension in the body? Can you invite it to depart with each exhalation? Invite a softening across the forehead, through the jaw, in the shoulders, in your fingers. Where else do you hold your tension? Can you invite it to soften right now? It may not fully release. This is a process. We're always a work in progress. Just taking in the information of what you've done so far. Great. All right, so I'm going to show you a little series that we're going to do now. It is, I call it waterfall Uttanasana. It looks like this. I'm going to imagine that in my palms, I have these little golden balls. And then I'm going to turn the palms down. So you could just go, just magnetize to your palm. Just flip the wrists up and down a couple times. Good. And then we're going to grow this, and it will look like this. I'm going to inhale my arms up, and I've got those little golden balls in my palms. And now I'm going to paint downward gently. And bring my fingertips to the thighs, and I'm going to use this to press up and spread wide. I'll bend my knees and fold forward any amount. So maybe this is as much as it feels right to go to today. Maybe I'll slide my hands down a little. Then you can stay in extension, or you could round your upper back. See which feels better to you. Now your hands could rest on the chair or the blocks or somewhere on your legs. And then we'll sweep the arms out to the sides and let them carry you all the way up. We'll look up to the sky. Imagine you're holding the two orbs between your palms, and then bring them down to your heart. And pause a moment in. Okay, so now you've seen it. Shall we do it together a few times? It's going to warm up our body. So find your little balls of light. And then when you're ready to inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, let the waterfall downward occur. Inhale, press into the thighs, lift and broaden like your Golden Globe statue. And then exhale and fold forward any amount. Now remember, the spine can stay long, or you could round it, whichever feels better to you. When you're ready to inhale, you'll sweep the arms out to the sides and let them bring you all the way up. Collect all your energy between your palms, look up, and then draw that energy down to your heart. And let the hands come down. Couple of breaths here. Here we go again, inhaling that waterfall, bringing the globes up to the top. When you exhale, letting them spill down. When you inhale, inhale tall and broad. Exhale, fold forward. Let's be here for a few breaths. Again, bending and unbending the legs. Maybe working towards a straight leg, maybe finding a place in between fully bent and fully straight that works best in your body today. And then holding on to that. Imagine feeling the kneecaps lifting up to the pelvis again, the belly hollowing towards the back body. Feel the stability of your feet forward and back, side to side. So keep this foundation that we've had in our Tadasana. And then the next time you inhale, we'll sweep the arms out to the sides, up to hold our little golden orb. We'll draw that orb down to the belly and come into Tadasana. One more time, just like that. Inhaling up. As you exhale, coming down, don't worry if you don't match the same exact pace as me or anyone else. As you inhale, tall and broad. As you exhale, folding forward. Double check that your weight hasn't rocked back into the heels. Press down through the big toe mound, down through the pinky toe, lift up through the front of the leg, up through the belly. Imagine the outer thighs rolling in ever so slightly and your outer hips pinning to the midline. Now here, if you're an extension, just imagine that you could grow your spine a little bit longer. If you're rounded, I'm going to ask you to inhale into Ardha Uttanasana. Extend the spine long. So we're all doing the same thing. And then as you exhale, you can either stay extended or around the upper spine. And we'll do that a few times, either growing further from extension or coming from the rounded into extension. So extension means that big, long spine. And as you're ready, micro bend the knees, sweep the arms out to the sides and let them carry you up. Looking up to the sky, drawing the orb down to your heart. Honoring the union of the great divine and the divine within you. Letting the hands come down and taking a moment in your mountain pose. What does your head feel like? What do the shoulders feel like? How is the state of your foundation? Beautiful. All right, how did that feel? That warmed you up a little bit? Lovely. So now we're going to move into some work that is going to work on our hip flexors. So the hip flexor starts down here on the inner edge of your, it's called the lesser trochanter. It's a little protrusion on the inside of your thigh bone. It comes up over the front of the pelvis and then goes up over the pelvis and connects in multiple places on the base, on the lower parts of your spine. And so if this is tight, it does several things. One is it can cause pain in your low back, but it also then causes tightening all up the chain and again up to the base of the skull. So you don't think of why does my neck hurt because of my hip flexors, but sometimes this is the origin. Tightness here can be the origin of tightness here. So we are going to work on strengthening and lengthening the hip flexor and see if we can invite some release in other places. So it looks like this. We're going to do it multiple times. So the first time we do it, we're going to have the hands on the belly, inhale out, exhale in. And we'll do that 3 times, and we'll match it with some movement of our lower legs. And then we'll bring the hands to the heart, and we'll bring our arms out to the sides. Now you remember that your positioning might always look a little different. So feel what's comfortable to you. Maybe this is great for you. Maybe it's not for your shoulders. So then adjust it, okay? And then we'll bring the hands to either the throat or the top of the head, your choice, and we'll bring the arms up. Okay, so that's the upper body. So you know how they're chewing and walking at the same time? It's sort of like that. This is the chewing part, and here's the walking part, okay? So we're going to inhale with a straight leg. We're going to make sure that the pelvis is tipped to neutral, and then we're going to exhale and bend that front leg. So here's the inhale and the exhale. Okay, so it doesn't matter which foot you brought forward first. Let's make sure that we're on railroad tracks versus a tightrope. So here I am on a tightrope, and already you can see it's harder. So I'm going to take my feet apart a little bit. There we go. I'm going to check in with my pelvis. Because we're tight here from sitting so much in our culture, it tends to pull the pelvis forward. So we're going to lift these frontal hip bones. There we go. And then the heart floats over the pelvis, and the head floats over the heart. Ready? Inhale, get long and tall. Exhale, bend that front leg. Now your bend might be just a little bit. And a word, if balance is a little bit of a trouble for you, you could do this near a wall or holding onto a chair. Okay? So we'll inhale, get straight. Exhale and bend. Okay, that's the bottom part. Now bring your hands to your belly, straighten the leg. Now the belly on the, your hands on the belly can remind you to lift up your pelvis. And when you do that, do you already feel your hip flexor over on the other side here? Okay, good. Inhale, exhale. Hands to the sides, knee bends. Inhale, hands in, straight leg. Exhale, arms out, bent knee. So do this slowly now. Inhale. And exhale. Hold this for a moment. Take a breath here. Next inhalation, straighten the leg, hands to the heart. Exhale, bend the knee, arms apart. Inhale to the heart. Exhale apart. One more time. And then we'll hold the hands, hold the bent knee, just be here for a moment. All right, so depending on the comfort of your shoulders, you'll either bring your hands to the throat or the heart, just a little higher on the heart, whatever you can reach, or the top of your head. And then as we straighten, we'll bring the arms up any amount. For you, it might be forward, right? So inhale, straighten the arms either forward somewhat or up straight. With your breath. Beautiful. And the next time your leg is straight and the arms are straight, stay there. Oops, I mean the knees are bent and the arms are up, stay there. Let the hands come down, come up on the ball of the back foot, and then either creep the foot forward or take one big step forward. Okay, I don't know about you. My calf did a good stretch on that. Anyone else get tight there? I'm a big walker. I walk almost every day, and sure enough, those get pretty tight. Okay, so did anybody else find the chewing gum walking or this was tough? All right, so we're going to do the other side. So the opposite foot will come forward. The opposite foot will come back, still on our railroad tracks. We're going to even out the pelvis. Yep. Hands come to the belly. Inhale, get long and tall. Exhale, bend the knee, hands out to the sides. There we go. Everybody's with me. Good job. Inhale, straighten, hands come in. Exhale. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, open up to the world. One more time. Exhale, and let's hold this for a breath or two. And next time you inhale, we'll straighten the leg, bring the hands to the heart. Exhale, out to the sides. That's it. At your pace, inhale, straighten the leg, hands come in. Exhale, out and apart. Again. And then the next time you're in that wide open position, let's hold that for a bit. Let's just hold that. Let's feel the feet on the floor, the hips pinning to the midline, the core drawing in and the heart lifting up. So notice the subtle reactions as we did each of these things. Beautiful. Let's bring the hands either to the throat or the head. Straighten that front leg. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, bend the knee, extend the arms. Inhale, straighten and hands to the head. Exhale, bend the knee, straighten the arms. One more time like that. And then we'll hold the position where the knee is bent and the arms are up overhead. Notice if you're pivoting back and jutting the ribs. Can you bring your shoulders right over your hip points? And then we'll let the hands come down. We'll come up on the ball of the back foot. We'll step the feet together. All right, just kind of walk back and forth on your mat a little bit. Just opening up these hip flexors a little bit. You could, sweep the legs. Okay, so this is an area that likes to shut down. Good, so do whatever counter movements feel good to your body right now. Is anyone else, are you finding different ones than the ones I showed? Oh, maybe forward and back a couple of times. Okay, shake it out. There's a lot of stuff happening in that. And then we'll just take a moment into Tadasana. You feel some different places waking up, getting some blood flow. Lovely. Okay, so now we're going to come into a low lunge. Low lunge with the knee up. So it will look like this. So I'm going to show it in a number of ways because we all operate at different places. So I might do my low lunge right here. Now here again, I would like my pelvis to be neutral, but you'll notice that that back leg might need to bend a little bit, and that's okay. You could work to straightening it. But if in completely straightening it, it draws the pelvis to spill forward, bend it a little bit. You could work with the seat of the chair right here. You could work with your blocks. Some people can go all the way to the floor, but here's what happens when a lot of us do. You see how my upper back is rounding so I can reach the floor? So then we know a little assist would help us. So here's our low lunge. Doesn't matter which foot you know what? Let's stand at the front of our mat. Get whatever prop we've figured out is going to work for us. Someone working with a bathroom sink. I love how creative everybody is. We just have to work with what's around us, right? Okay, so let's take the right foot back first. So you could bend your knees, bring your hands to whatever support you think you're going to use, and then bring the right foot back. There we go. And draw the belly in, reach the spine long. There it is. Okay, so if I can, I'm going to straighten my back leg, but if that isn't working today, that's okay. I can also micro bend it. Beautiful. So now imagine drawing your hips together, drawing your belly in. Here's our strength. And then using the back muscles to extend the heart forward and keep the shoulder blades on the back. That feels pretty strong, doesn't it? Excellent. Now we're going to bring our hand to the inside of that front foot. So if you're on the chair, maybe your hand is on the seat of the chair. If you're using blocks, you might walk your block in. And then we'll take the left hand to the hip. Now, hug the outer hips in again. Draw the belly in. Spine is long. So now you're ready as you inhale to get long. As you exhale, you can turn towards that bent leg. Yes. So you could come in and out of it a couple times slowly. Inhale to straight spine. Exhale to twist. Good, and then hold your twist. Notice your head. Is your head lifting up, coming forward? Can you bring your head in line with the rest of the spine? Hug that outer hip in. And untwist. All right, when you're ready, take that back foot forward. Bend your knees. Walk your hands to your thighs. And just like we came out of our forward fold before, let's sweep the arms out to the sides and let them carry us upward. Ooh. Very nice work. Okay, so we took our right foot back before, so now we'll prepare to take the left leg back. Unless you did it backwards before, or I should say opposite, because is there really one right way? There is not. Okay, so as best you can, we'll straighten the back leg. We'll draw the belly in. We'll reach the spine long. Here's our low lunge. Our outer hips are drawing to the midline. This back leg is rolling in towards the center line. That's going to help you stay stable. How's your breath? Can the breath be smooth and even? We're creating some strength here, right? All right, let's get ready for that twist by bringing your hand to the inside, more towards your center line. That's really what we're doing. And it might be on your chair, you might have moved your block in. And then you'll take your right hand to the hip. Hug the hips in, draw the belly in, get the spine long as you breathe in. Exhale and turn towards the bent leg. And again, you could play with this. You could come in and out a couple of times, just warming up this twist before you hold it in the place that you're going to hold it for a while. Check in with the neck. Check in with that back leg. The more solid it is, the more solid your shape will stay. Can you breathe, exhaling, letting go of tension? And then turn down to the floor, untwisting. We'll step the feet together, bend the knees, maybe even rest your forearms on your knees for a minute. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing your face. If you like, you could take a forward fold now. If you want to, you could stay right here. If this feels like a nice little resting stop. If your body likes a forward fold, go ahead, take a forward fold. And as you're ready, we'll slowly make our way out of whatever shape we were in and meet together back in mountain pose. Beautiful. Okay, how are you feeling so far? We're working okay? We're going to come into Virabhadrasana 2 now, and then also Parsvakonasana, the extended side angle pose. So let me just show it to you, because I know when you're trying to do it and then look at the little square on your screen, it can be hard to do. So I'm going to inhale my hands together, exhale my feet apart, and then I'm going to turn one leg out 90 degrees. And you decide, did it feel better to me to kick the heel back? Do I like to keep my foot parallel with the back edge? We also explored last Monday. Some people, not all of us, some people felt more stable if we brought that heel forward a little bit. So you could turn and come into this Virabhadrasana 2 stance, turning the navel away from this bent knee, sweeping the arms out. Okay, so shall we get into this together? All right, if you're not already here, we'll come into a wide leg stance. We'll turn the right leg out 90 degrees. You can creep your foot forward. You could take your heel back, and you might not know till we try it. So let's go ahead. Inhale the arms out parallel with the shoulders. If that works for you, you could also keep your hands on your hips, and then exhale into the Virabhadrasana 2 shape. Play with this back hip. Turn the back hip forward and see if that gives you freedom in this knee to keep it right over the foot. Then keep the knee where it is and maybe draw the hip back. If drawing the hip back brought the knee forward, we know the hip needs to turn a little. So play with that. Good. And then you can turn the waistline away, because this is a really twisty part of ourselves. You could sweep the arms out if that feels good to you. So this is Virabhadrasana 2, your warrior 2, creating strength in the largest muscles of our body. Lovely. Now, if you take a peek at me, I'm going to slide this sideways over the thigh. So it might be here. I might take it to a chair. I might come to my forearm, right? So find the place that works for you. And then my buttocks likes to come back, my head forward. So instead, take the head over the shoulder, the tailbone in line with the heel. And then we'll turn the heart away from the floor and work in Utthita Parsvakonasana, the extended side angle pose. Your hand again can remain on the hip, or it can come up overhead, your choice. So find your way in with me. We'll take a few breaths. And when you're ready, press into the heel of this bent leg and push up and out. Excellent. Okay, now, if you like to use your chair, flip it to the other side. Some of us like to use blocks. I'll show this side once with blocks just so you can see. We'll come again into our Virabhadrasana 2. And then when I fold into my Parsvakonasana, I might work here. I might work here. Maybe my hand comes to a block. I'm resisting this, keeping aligned, opening the heart, and then coming into, yes, my Parsvakonasana. So I know I was showing it to you, so you probably jumped in with me, but let's come into Virabhadrasana 2 first. Turning the heel out. Inhale, exhale into Virabhadrasana 2. Do that little experimentation with the hip, finding the freedom that keeps you in integrity. And then turn at the waistline. Here's our Virabhadrasana 2. We're creating some strength. Can you breathe? Imagine that each breath is fueling these muscles, bringing oxygen to these big muscles that are working so hard for you. Can you double check that the belly hasn't flop forward. Can you draw that belly in, lift the heart tall? Excellent. Okay, here's our side angle pose. Ready? Float over. Float over. That's it. Hand to the thigh, forearm, maybe hand to a chair or to your block. Opening the heart away from the floor. Arm up overhead. Now I'm just going to watch a few people who've chosen to keep the camera on just so I can see. Yes, I see some heads dropping. There we go, ear towards the shoulder. Beautiful, that opens some hearts up. Oh, that looks so good. And then press through the heel, come on up. Okay, here's my Kleenex, sorry. Okay, lovely work, everybody. So now let's come into Prasarita Padottanasana. This is another wide leg fold, and it's another forward fold. So it looks like this. Some of us will want our chair, but not all of us. It's really dependent on your body. So from this wide leg stance, I'm going to firm my inner edges of my feet, firm my outer edges to wake up my legs, and then I'll fold forward. And so your fold forward might be here. It might be to the seat of the chair, maybe forward. Some of you will be able to come to blocks, right? Maybe down further. Some of you will be able to bring the hands to the floor. Wherever you are, I want you to notice the tendency to rock into the heels. That overstretches these hamstring muscles, and particularly the attachment up here. So bring your weight forward on your feet, press down through the toes and lift up through the fronts of the legs. And then if you're on the floor, you could walk your hands back and you can stay in extension like I am or round into forward fold. And then when we come out, we might toe heel the feet a little closer together, walk the hands on the thighs and slowly come up. All right, so that's the whole thing. I know some of you have done it before, so you walked right in, that's fine. For those of us who are doing it with me for the first time in a while, let's take the legs apart wide, feel the inner and outer edges, draw in the belly, lift up the heart, get broad and tall. Nice. When you're ready, we'll turn the pelvis forward. Now, as soon as you come just a little bit, notice the tendency to rock in the heels. So counter that tendency. Come into the front part of the foot and firm these muscles. Then maybe fold a little further. Maybe a little further. So go to the place that you can keep your spine long and your legs solid without rocking back into your heels. So that will be different places for all of us. Imagine the outer heels reaching away from one another, the outer shins drawing in a little. And then if you like, you could fold forward. Some of us prefer extension, that long spine. So you do what feels right to your body today. Ah, yes. Good, from what I can see, it's looking pretty good. If you're in a full forward fold, maybe you want to just let your head, let gravity take your head and just shimmy it side to side or up and down like yes, no. Good. Couple of breaths. And then we'll inhale to extension if you weren't already there. Toe heel the feet a little closer together and walk the hands to the upper thighs, hug the elbows in, draw the belly in and slowly come up just a third of the way, look down to the floor. We're just letting our blood flow catch up. If you come up too fast, you can start to come up another maybe a little third. But if you come up too fast, you could get a head rush. So we're going to take our time. And then step back into Tadasana. Excellent job. All right, so I'm going to go to the wall. I'm going to bring either a chair or a block. And what is the determining factor? If I am very tight in these adductors, I want a chair. Okay, so let me show it to you. We're going to come into a pose we haven't done for a little while. It's a beautiful balanced pose called Ardha Chandrasana. No, I'm gonna, yeah. Okay, so Ardha Chandrasana, it looks like this. For me, this is too high, but I'll show it to you with this anyway. My feet are apart, but not as wide apart as when we're coming into Virabhadrasana too. So maybe just a little wider than your hips. I'll turn one leg towards whatever prop I've set up over here. And I've got my back buttock kind of brushing the wall. And what I'm going to do is teeter back and forth until I bring my weight onto this, I'm going to call it the front foot. And then from the front foot, I'm going to bend that knee and reach down to whatever prop I've chosen, whether it's a block or the chair. And then I'm going to straighten both of my legs. So for some people, the leg is down here. For some of us, it's in line with the hip. That's less important than that you have straight, strong legs. And here, do you see how my head came away? I can use the wall as a little barometer. I'm going to bring my head back to the wall, open up, just like we did in Parsvakonasana. And I can keep my hand on the hip, or I could lift it up. Now, if I were using a block, same thing. I bring my weight onto the front foot. I bend my knee and bring my hand to the block, and then straighten both legs. All right, will you try it with me? So it doesn't matter which direction you go first, just make sure that you've got your prop in the direction you're deciding to go. Okay, turn to face your prop, bring your weight on the foot that's closer to it, bend that knee and reach down to your prop. Now bring your head against the wall and your buttock of the supporting leg. And then straighten both of your legs. We're drawing in the belly, reaching the spine long. Both legs are strong and firm. And you're in half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Can you let go of tension in your face and throat? Feel the strength of your foundation in this pose, allowing you to just twist open. And then we'll bend the supporting leg, bring the back foot down to the floor, and up you come. Was that graceful? Okay, let's go the opposite direction. So both feet are facing forward now for a moment. Take just a pause. Use the wall to give you that sense of support. Relax. Yeah, we're just taking a little pause, letting the information from the one side of the body get mapped in the brain. Remember I said it's sort of like when someone gives you instructions and they're going really fast and then you just try to go right away without letting your brain take in the information. So now we're going to take this information and try to apply it to the other side. You ready? Turn the opposite foot out. There we go. Bring your weight onto that foot. You've got your props, and I'm too close to my wall. Okay. And then bring your weight onto that supporting foot. We'll straighten both legs. And again, your leg might be a little lower, might be a little higher. Draw your belly in, reach the heart long, and then turn away from the floor. And here you are in half moon pose, Ardha Uttanasana. Can you relax? I know there's a lot of work happening here, but can you let go of gripping in any place where it's not required? What's your tongue doing in your mouth? Is it jammed against the roof? All right, bend that supporting leg. Open out, check out. All right, so you know this, I say it all the time, but if I'm holding a pose longer than your body wants to hold it, come out, just come out. Okay, at the wall, since we're at the wall, let's do a variation of Malasana. So these are your sitting bones, right where your the bottom of your pelvis is. They're called ischial tuberosities, which is just a funny phrase, I like it. So I'm gonna bend my knees, fold forward a little bit, and then back up until those ischial tuberosities are on my wall. Yeah, so beep, 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 back up to the wall. But now draw in the belly and reach the heart long. So I'm folded forward a little bit. My hands are on my thighs. And I'm just going to slide my hands down, draw the belly in, and reach away. So we're lengthening the spine. Do you feel that lengthening? So for some of us, this is the right place to work. For some of you, you might take your forearms to the thighs just above the knees. That might be a good place for you to work. For those of you who know you like Malasana, you could bring your hands to the floor and bend the knees and let the pelvis reach down to the floor and then lift your heart up. This is not going to be right for everybody. Not everybody's knees like this, but you can still get the beautiful tractioning and lengthening of your low spine in this shape, right? So work in the place that's right for your body today. Some of us who like Malasana, but that's too deep, like to stack up a couple of blocks. So we're not going to be here too much longer, but if you know you love that, you could do that. You could work here. So there's not as much pressure on the knees and there's not as much flexion. Okay. If you like, you can stay in Malasana or you could come into a full forward fold. So you can bend or straighten your knees as much as you like and just round the upper spine. So this is a going inward. Can you breathe to your fullness? Breathe all the way to your edge. Exhale and let go of what you don't need. All right, if you're in forward fold, you might walk your hands to just above the knees, hug the elbows in, and really, really slowly come up. If you're in Malasana, you might bring your hands, you might press into the floor and begin to straighten your legs and then work your way up. If you're seated on blocks, you might take your hands to your thighs and then press up. And I came up too fast, got a little head rush. That's because I wasn't listening to my own advice. So I'm going to take just a moment in my Tadasana. If you have the head rush, you can just take your fingertips to your forehead. Take just a moment here. Excellent. Good work, everybody. You ready to move to the floor? Let's come on down to the floor. All right. So you won't need your blocks for this next thing, but you may want 1 or 2 blankets. So you can see I have my blankets folded just in half. It's a rectangle, and I'm going to set 1 blanket to start, and I'll just show this to you. I'm going to come into Baddha Konasana, the bound angle pose. And being up on some height can give some of us a little freedom. Some of us would feel better on 2 blankets. Some of us would appreciate a little support underneath either the thighs or sliding outward more under the knees, because I want you to feel this sense of foundation again. Good, so setting up your foundation. Letting go into that support of your foundation. And you might think about, what is your foundation? Your foundation is physical. Your foundation is your own integrity, the ways you're listening to and responding to yourself with integrity and compassion. Your foundation might be your community and loved ones. And your foundation might include your connection to the greater universe, whatever that means to you. A lot of us call that divine, but what language feels most comfortable to you? And we're just going to sway slowly from side to side and feel the stretch. Whatever stretches occur to you, I feel that in my QL back here, quadratus lumborum, kind of in that mid-low back. And then if you like, you could explore coming in a little bit of a circle. Maybe taking that circle around. And if there's any part of this circle where you feel especially that you need the stretch, stay there for a little bit and maybe add the arm in opposition to the direction you're going to further intensify the stretch. So for some of us, it's a side stretch. And so maybe you want your arm up overhead. For me, it's side and forward a little bit so I can get into that QL. And so I might reach away from that. So explore where in your body you need to hold this for a little bit and give it a little longer to unwind. And then explore the opposite side. So if it was your QL or your side waist, maybe it was back here and just opening a little more. All right, so you explore, where is your body asking for a little bit more time? Good, and then we'll come back to center. Help the knees come together and maybe take them together and apart a couple of times. Oh gosh, I had more planned. Ran out of time. Want to stay another half hour? I know, we got stuff to do. All right, so let's do this. Let's set up the Shavasana of your choosing. Shavasana is that final resting pose. It's a shape that allows your body to completely let go and rest. So that will be different for all of us. And if in the getting there, your body's asking for a little bit of movement of any kind, maybe knees to chest, maybe arms up overhead. Yeah, and we'll tend to cool off in our Shavasana. So feel free to put on a layer or even put one of your towels or blankets on top of you, so you can be as comfortable as possible. So I'm pretending I'm at the wall and I've got my legs up the wall. This is one of my favorite poses to rest in. You find the one that feels good to you, that allows your back to relax. Allows your shoulders to soften down to the ground. So I would argue that our strength comes in many, many forms. It's physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. Yogi Bhajan said, your strength is how calmly and quietly and peacefully you face your life, which could be just the definition of poise. And so as you take a few more moments to just be, imagine yourself completely supported and strong and balanced and poised, ready to face into your day. All the joys and all the challenges. Slowly we'll take just a couple of breaths. Again, using that breath to bring our attention back into physical awareness. Letting that connection with your physical self guide you into any stretching or wiggling or counter movements that would be useful to you as you slowly make your way back into whatever seated shape works for you. Feeling consciously one last time your foundation and how that solid foundation allows you to lift your heart, to open to the world around us. In gratitude and in honor of this lineage, our class, our sharing together, and ourselves, we can bring our hands anywhere to the front body that feels good, and we'll bow our heads. Namaste. Thank you so much, everybody.